Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a database using your ICDSOFT control panel. So the first thing you do is you log into your control panel. So I'm assuming you're there, so I've logged in. I'm going to select My SQL Databases. Alright, once I'm on this screen, I'm going to scroll down, and you can see I already have a bunch of databases. So I'm going to create a new one. First thing I'm going to do is delete an old one, just so I have some room. Alright, I'm going to create a new database. I'm going to call this one, so in the Create New Database column, I'm going to type a database name. And for this, I'm just going to say Sample UNCW. And I'm going to click Create. You'll see a message, database created successfully, if it was created. Your database is now Ray Pastor. Well, mine is whatever your website is. You can see your actual database name. Now, to log into your database, you're going to have a username and password which you can create, but it should be the same username and password that you use for your site. Alright, so I'm going to select this PHP My Admin, and I'm going to log in. Alright, once I log in, on the left-hand side of the screen here, I see all my databases, since I have many. You should only have one since this is your first time. So I'm going to select my database, and it's going to have nothing. It's going to be blank at this point. So the first thing I want to do is I want to actually create a table for my database. So on the left-hand side of the screen, I'm going to select Create Table. And what's going to come up, they're going to have two columns here. Two rows basically is really what it is at first. Well, no, two columns. I'm going to create a couple columns, so just to start here, I'm going to add two. But you can add as many as you need. Alright, first thing I need to do is give my table a name. And I'll call this, I'm just going to call it like customer information. First thing I'm going to do for my first column is create a unique ID. You have to do this for all databases, something we'll be going over in class. So I'll call this like customer ID. Next column, I'll say name. I might even just say, call this first name, last name, address, or I'd probably break address up in the street. So I will say email address. Notice there are no spaces in any of these. Just do not use spaces for this section. You don't want to use spaces. Alright, next thing I'm on type. Variable character means they can type in anything. That's fine, except for this ID. I want it to be an integer. I specifically want it to be an integer. Length. This is how much space, every time someone types something in, how long is it going to be? So for this, I'm just going to use 5. That means I can have up to, let's see, 5 is, 99,999 values. First name, how many characters will someone type for the first name? I will say 20. Last name, I'll say 20 as well. The problem with using a number is every time someone only enters their last name and it has 5 characters, I'm still taking up that much 20 characters worth of space in my database, unfortunately. Email address, let's say 25 characters. Alright, default, we're going to leave that blank. We're actually going to leave all of these blank for now because we're not going to talk about them just yet. And actually, the only thing we're going to do here is for index, I'm going to select primary and auto increment. I'm going to save it, and it's been created. Look, I now have a table called customer information. I go to my table, and there's nothing in it at this point. So now I want to add something to my table. I'm going to go to insert. I'm not going to enter anything in here because remember this is going to auto increment by itself for customer ID, but I'm going to enter in a customer. I'll say Ray Pastor as me and my email address. And I'll click Go. I've added myself in. So, and let me actually add another person in. John Smith, email, blah, 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 at blah, blah, blah.com. I click go. Now, if I click browse, I actually see my database. And you can see the customer ID is auto-incrementing by itself. First name, last name, email address. This is my database. Now I can delete a record if I choose to, like if someone entered something in, spam or something like that. I can also edit these records as well. If someone misentered something, I can edit them. And that's how you create a database using ICDSOFT.